Hi, everybody. This is Jill Renee Feeler, and welcome to this podcast. We're at number 223. I can't believe it. And I'm doing this one as a pre-record because I leave for Greece on Wednesday. It's Monday, and I'm starting to feel the the to-do list sort of like a wave that I want to ride. Anyway, so rather than do my normal process of a live event and then I do the uploads and then I do the exports and all those things, we're going to do this differently where I'm offering you this audio. I'm not making a video for this one. It's a whole other layer of time and things like that. And I love you and I do want to share something and I do have things to share. But anyway, so that's why we're doing it this way. Okay, so, and I do have an idea, a topic for today, which is great. Yeah, okay, very good. All right, so I do invite you to, let's do a connection experience here. I encourage you to relax your body, maybe kind of shake your shoulders out, wiggle your face. Okay, good. And just take some nice deep breaths. I'm inviting you into a space of yourself that you may not have known is there. Okay? Yeah, be excited, hopefully. Be skeptical, that's okay too. Okay, just take a nice deep breath here with me. And you may want to say to yourself, there is more to me than what I know. What I know is not all there is. Okay. Oh, that feels so good. Okay. I feel like it's sort of like a waterfall from your consciousness being at the top of the waterfall, sort of like dropping, hopefully in a satisfying, non-bodily harm kind of way into other layers of yourself that are beyond the physical, beyond time even, beyond space, a transcendence that is beyond time and space, a layer of experience and consciousness that you and I and everyone in this reality actually has access to. But there's very little in this reality that can invite us into that space. But I can, and we do, so let's go. Alrighty, so now that you're here, this layer of you, let's see what we got. So the topic that I want to share on today, because it does, I observe it in communities that are very focused on positive intentions and maybe even dream boards and visions for their lives and manifestation and things like that. I see this focus on that, and I see, and it definitely came up in a session even today, that there is this lack of appreciation or even lack of acknowledgement of what is often called luck. I would also call it grace, by the way. Okay? So without that acknowledgement of luck in this reality and or grace, there is a huge realm of like wild success and extreme like wow sort of pleasant surprises that are being missed out on. Okay, I consider myself a very lucky person. I feel like my husband and I together are very lucky. I feel like our family is very lucky in a lot of ways. There are so many things that have gone like wildly well in our lives that we never imagined, never envisioned, never asked for, never intended. When my husband Jeff and I look at our lives, we're both sort of just like, wow. I mean, in hindsight, I think we made a lot of good choices and worked really hard at things that paid really well. But we never could have dreamed of how well everything would go. And there's a lot of people that work hard and things aren't going well, but they may be working hard at things that don't pay well, right? So that would yield a different outcome, right? But this idea that there's no such thing as luck, it's very closely tied to a related idea that is that everything happens for a reason, and that everything has a purpose, and that nothing random happens, that there's no chaos here. There's this higher order to everything. And we've shared related podcasts on that. Let me, which one would it be? Oh, maybe I'll remember at some point. But there, you may just want to search on the internet, Jill Renee Feeler, chaos and random, and some of those podcasts may pop up related to our views on those things, which is instrumental in, I think, living in an aware state in this reality and not trying to find meaning in everything. There is a high degree of randomness and chaos in this reality. Oh, I know. It also came up in a recent Ask Me Anything, which I offer to my members. Ask Me Anything number 4 has, I think, a very satisfying and refreshing and enlightening conversation about randomness and chaos that is another layer of it that we added in that. So you may want to go check that out. Okay, so there is randomness in this reality. There is chaos in this reality. There are things that happen without a reason and without a purpose. And I know some of you will disagree with me on that. And of course, I acknowledge your free will and your ability to disagree with me on that. But I wouldn't be sharing this message if I didn't not only believe it's true, I know it's true. Okay? So just pretending something is true doesn't make it true. So pretending that everything that happens has a purpose and a meaning, I observe as a very unsatisfying, energetically draining experience of life. Some things just happen. Now some of you are saying, but my soul is growing here. Earth is a school. No, Earth is not a school. And no, it's not that your soul isn't growing, it's that it's already graduated, okay? Your soulfulness is fully whole and complete. It would never come to Earth to make itself better, right? Earth would be a horrible place for that. So it's like trying to go on vacation to the coal mines in Virginia and working a very dangerous, high risky job and pretending it's fun. This is so great. I'm so glad I'm on vacation, right? That's a very, very hard life that coal miners live. Okay? All right, so let's sort of shake your arms out, sort of give yourself space to reconsider what you had been pretending is true. Because I don't want you to miss out on the luck, okay? So I didn't go through that step. I didn't have that trying on for me as Jill. I didn't have a phase in my journey of pretending that there was no luck and that the only things that happen in your life are things that you envision, you create, you manifest. So I never had that. So I forgot, and I sort of didn't see that was there. And I remember the first time I really saw it was when I was talking about a personal example in my life. And I think it was related to my work and, the business that ended up happening here with me sharing my gifts and my insights with the world. Somebody said to me at the San Francisco workshop, and she's a very close friend as well, and she said, "But you asked for it, right?" And I remember Hafsa. Hello, Hafsa. She said, "But you asked for it, right?" And I was like, no. And I was so glad that she asked that question, because it reminded me that most people, I think a lot of people that listen to me and maybe enjoy what we do, partake in our messages and what we offer, with their thinking that, oh, what Jill has created, she has it because she asked for it. No. I have what I have in terms of what has now ended up being a business and my giftedness, etc. I didn't even ask for my gifts, you guys. Yeah, okay, there we go. Okay, so I have specific examples of things I have that I feel very blessed to experience and be able to offer and share and be in this reality that I did not ask for. Okay, there we go. So you can have amazing things happen in your life as you that you don't have to ask for. Okay, yeah. Now some of you are fighting for that old truth, because it felt powerful, right? And I totally get it. That's very intelligent. That part of you is thinking, no, if I want something, I have to ask for it. That's not true. I know that's not true, because if it was true, what's happening to me and what the blessings and luck that we have in our lives would not have happened. I did not ask for this. Okay? Okay, so the part of you that wants to argue that it's true, I encourage you to just set it in a chair like a toddler in timeout and just be like, okay, you just sit over there, because I'm just all we're doing is considering that we may be wrong, which is threatening to you, but not threatening to my bigger sense of self. It's okay if we're wrong. It's better to have the truth than to pretend a lie is truth. It's a lie that you have to ask for everything in your life. It's a lie that there is no luck. It's a lie that everything happens for a reason. Okay, some of you are actually feeling a sense of relief, a sense of maybe confused. That's okay. This is disorienting for some of you, and I love you, and I'm giving you a big hug, okay? This is going to be good, okay? Okay, so getting back to luck. There are situations that go better than we could have planned, that turn out far better than we could have dreamed or envisioned, where being in the right place at the right time, being a version of you, I don't know, whatever, but it just aligns in a way that it's like, whoa, really? Like, me? This? Wow. Right? That is so 100% true. And by denying that's true, you may be denying yourself of blessings that maybe you don't feel like you earned or that you necessarily deserve. That's not taking away from anybody else. It just is. You don't have to manage your future with your intentions. Another way to go through your life is by feeling personal responsibility, which is just responding to your abilities, of who and what you are in your life, apologizing where necessary, being your best self, trying new things, experimenting with a version of yourself that you like best, right? And seeing how it goes. It may end up that what you like best about yourself, others like best about you too. And maybe that affects your income. Maybe that affects your relationships in positive ways. That would be fantastic. Or it may just make you a happier person and not have a negative side effect, and that's good too. It's good to go through life liking yourself and feeling responsibility for those parts of you that you don't like, and managing those more prickly layers of self out in the world that can kind of pop up sometimes, that you're like, oh God, there I go, saying this silly, stupid, or mean thing to someone else out of a weird unconscious reaction and trigger I have in there. Come here, you, let me give you a hug. You don't get to use my mouth anymore, honey. Right? Okay, so this relates to abundance, and it does relate to many people's, I want to say, preoccupation with trying to manifest, right? I remember I did an interview earlier this year with Gabrielle Spencer, and I think that Gabrielle, and if you're listening, just send me an email, Gabrielle, if this is true. I think it's true that Gabrielle does lean more towards the ideas of manifestation and principles of intention and staying intentional and those sorts of things in terms of how to have financial success. And my husband and I have a crazy abundance of financial success that we have created for ourselves, along with a lot of luck. Being in the right place at the right time, having the right skill set that was noticed, acknowledged, and valued. For him in his career as now a CEO, he never imagined being a CEO. He was always shooting for CFO, Chief Financial Officer, in the firm he was working for, the firms, when he left public accounting. And then it ended up that he that the CFO role that he was in, the CEO, Chief Executive Officer position came open, and that anyway, it ended up that he got it temporarily and then he got it permanently. And then chairman of the board and these other things. And it's just like, oh my God. Now, is he super amazing in that job? Yeah. I mean, the company's success has been crazy good since he got in that position. Is that partly to do with him? I mean, I'm biased, but yeah. He also has an amazing team, and they have a really, I want to use the word intentional there, vision in that case of where they think the company could go to grow for, to better serve its customers and service shareholders at the same time as service employees and all those things. So it's a multifaceted approach that he has, and he's not into this consciousness and meditation stuff. Jeff is being Jeff, and it's working, right? So when I was talking with Gabrielle and she was talking about, this whole want to make millions, and I think she mentioned it, or maybe I mentioned it or something, but I was like, oh my God, that's right. I have something to say about the idea of making millions, because that has happened for us. And it wasn't, again, with our plan or intention. It's just like, wow, look at us. Look at this work. Look at us being us, that working in this reality. This is delight. Anyway, as I was listening, for some reason, I was just kind of curious about what was out there in terms of videos and how to become a millionaire, and because that's not my world. I've never watched videos like that. That was never our intention. But anyway, so this video popped up about what millionaires will not tell you, and it was nice that the guy that did the video acknowledges that he's not a millionaire, but yet he's trying to impart his wisdom on the research apparently that he's done about how millionaires make millions. And one of the things he said right off the bat is, there is no luck. And I had to turn it off at that point because I'm like, well, that's wrong. Speaking as a millionaire, that's not true. Luck is a huge part of success, a huge part of success. And I think it's unfortunate that those that are successful may not be talking about that. They may feel like it's something to not want to brag about because there's acknowledgement that not everybody has that luck. There is a sense of feeling undeservedly blessed in a way, and that's what grace is. Grace are blessings that you didn't earn, right? That doesn't mean there was no work involved, but the level of return on investment is just like way more than what you put in. And that's what grace is, right? It's unearned, abundance, unearned blessings. Yeah, I love grace. Amen to grace and amen to luck, because it doesn't have to come at someone else's expense. Okay, woo! Okay, so now that hopefully I have your attention, what do you do now? How is this different? Well, let's just start with the basics of those of you that have felt like you are, driving on this road of life and your hands are like tightly clenched to the steering wheel, trying to stay intentional and focused and positive and manifesting and all those things. What if you just loosen up your grip a little bit and try not to manage so many factors that are, this is the multivariate equation in this reality. Lots of independent variables that you have zero control over. That's humbling and frustrating to some of us, right? And to me included. I tend to be a bit of a control freak in a way. So the acknowledgement that there's more here than what you can control. There's more factors that went into your past, that are going into your present, and that will affect your future, that you have no control over. Right? Okay, so just pay attention to the part of you that's literally freaking out at that. Okay, you got it? You got him, you got her, you got those layers of you that are freaking out at the idea that you don't have control over this? Okay, set it like right on your lap like a child. That part of you was pretending that in order to be safe, in order to be successful, in order to be credible, in order to feel worthy in this reality, like you needed to act as if you had control over everything. That you needed to even come up with fantasy-based stories about why things have happened in your life, or why are certain things happening in your life. Do you realize, you probably don't, how much energy you've expended on that myth? So what if you got the best parking lot spot in the mall or grocery store at the crystal shop just because you were lucky? What if it wasn't because you thought about it the whole way there? What if it wasn't because there's any parking lot angels involved in the scene? What if they don't even exist? Okay? All right, let's just maybe smile and giggle at that, at the release from that structure. Okay. What if you got the worst parking lot in the spot because? What if there's no reason for it? What if that's just the way it happened that day? That the spot that was open when you got there was one that required a walk. See, these are perfect examples. Now, some of you are saying, but there has to be a reason. No, I just told you. There doesn't. There doesn't have to be a reason for these things. There also doesn't have to be a reason for you to be a breakthrough success. And there doesn't have to be a reason if things don't go as planned and you waste a whole bunch of money on something that you thought with the right intentions would go well. Yeah, okay. Now, some of you are saying, but you just said to feel personally responsible. To the response you have, yes. That doesn't mean feeling personally responsible for what happened. It means feeling personal responsibility, responding to your ability to respond to the randomness that can and does routinely and regularly happen in this reality. See the difference? Okay, now some of you, your mind is in a pretzel and you really, really want to go back to that version of you that's in timeout and drag it back out here again. You're giving yourself some space from an outdated, not only outdated, it was never true, but there's millions, maybe even tens of billions, probably every single person that loved The Secret and What the Bleep Do We Know, those like, oh my God, this makes so much sense. I love this. Let's pretend this is true, right? Those are probably the ones, right? I love you guys. Maybe even some law of attraction devotees are just really like, but that would mean I was wrong all these years. Yeah, maybe. I mean, you can decide how harsh you are with yourself. What if that was an experiment that you were running? What would my life be like if I pretended these things were true? That with the right intention, everything will go well. With the right focus and positivity, that my life could be this. I don't believe the people that were in those videos, that were in those books. I don't believe them. I think they're being inauthentic with themselves about why they are successful enough to be written about or used as an example in those books. I think they're discounting luck. Their luck in this world. And that's not fair. It's not fair because it's not the full picture of why they've had this wild success when maybe you haven't. So some of you don't want there to be luck, right? I feel it. I get it. I totally get it. You may feel differently when you are more open to be the beneficiary of such luck. It may be that extra variable in the equation that you feel like you've been missing because you were denying its existence. So pick somebody that you look up to that, oh, they did it. They're the ones they're my model. I'm trying to do it their way. And just sit back for a moment, give yourself some space, And just consider the possibility that one of the reasons they've had that success, they've made it in your view, is because they were the right person at the right time, with the right skill set, with the right energy put forth, and they were also very lucky. And see, here's the thing. I feel it right in your second chakra saying, but if that's true, then I may not get what they have, because I wanted to be the right person, doing the right things, offering the right things, or, in the right place at the right time. And if I don't have the luck, since it's not something I control, then I may not have the outcome that they have. Exactly. That's exactly true. But I don't want that to be true, you may be saying. But that doesn't mean it's not true. Just because you don't want something to be true doesn't mean it isn't true. What we're doing right here is called honesty, truth, authenticity. This can work too, okay? So what would then happen if you maybe have been devoting years and money, and tremendous time and energy and attention and clarity and positivity towards something that's not working? What if you can pause right here in this moment of clarity and just say, this may not work. This may not start to work anytime soon. My lack of success and lack of the outcome being what I want it to be may not be because I have to wait for it. It may just not happen. That's 100% true. And by knowing that, now you have more choices, because what you've done without realizing it is you've given all your power to the dream at the expense of yourself. Okay, living the dream, for creating the dream, making the dream your reality, manifesting your hopes, wishes, and dreams, became such a focus that you sacrificed yourself in the process. Your time, your money, your life in some cases. But you're still alive, okay? I think you can prove that to yourself, right? So at any point, including this day in your life, you can reevaluate and just go, okay, shit. Like, be pissed, be sad, be mad at me, be mad at whatever. If there is that part of you that's still like, well, damn it, I wanted that to be true. True. I totally get that you wanted that to be true, but again, that doesn't mean it is. So what if it isn't true? Oh, now we just got to another layer of feeling like, well, that would mean that I'm not going to prove myself to, these individuals that always said I wouldn't amount to anything, or that I was always a flake, or whatever. There's a lot there probably for you in what you were expecting it would mean to have that success. That you'd be taken seriously, that you'd feel more freedom in this world, meanwhile, you've sacrificed a lot of freedom. If you've given up a lot of time and money and other elements of you for the sake of that dream, you've already spent a lot of you. And maybe now you get that back. Now you say, okay, I'm not investing in that anymore. If this may not happen, then yeah, I would spend my money from now on very differently. I'd dedicate my time to this differently. What else do you want to do with your time, life, energy, resources, thoughts, etc.? If that dream isn't going to happen, because it may not, I'm not saying it won't. I'm saying it's not wise to pretend like it will just because you want it to. That isn't how this reality works. I want it to work that way too, but it doesn't. Now, some of you are saying, well, easy for you to say, you got dreams fulfilled you didn't even know you had. Yeah, exactly. So I, in a way, just proved that your system is broken. that there's another way into a version of success that it isn't even on your radar. And there's the luck, and you can't plan on that. So if my husband and I weren't lucky, we would have less abundance, but be devoted to our work and to our careers and to our responsibilities as parents and spouses to each other. We would still be responsible. We have a lot of other blessings that are also on the plate, on this golden platter, that ended up happening for us. I of course want that for everybody, but I also don't want you to chase something and waste a lot of money, right? Waste a lot of, as for you to decide, but it looks like a waste. When I meet people, even in private sessions, that have spent, tens of thousands of dollars trying to, make it rich or have financial independence. And I'm just like, who are you listening to? Who is telling you that you have to invest this money and that it's a guaranteed success and that if you're just clear with your intentions, then it will work? Because that's a good salesperson. A salesperson that doesn't have what they're promising you, by the way, most likely. Salesmen are good at that. Saleswomen too, salespeople. Okay, so this is a reality check offered with love, and hopefully another on-ramp in terms of wild success beyond your imagination that's related to luck. Don't you know lucky people? Maybe that's what you admire about them, is that, damn, they're lucky, right? And luck can happen to good people, right? I think everybody as their infinite selves are good people. That doesn't make sense. I think everybody at their core nature as a soul are good. And in this reality, we have all this free will and responses to stimuli, etc., that help shape us into whatever we are. And sometimes that looks good and sometimes that looks bad, right? Anyway, so luck happens to good people, luck happens to bad people. Luck just happens, and that's the nature of it. It's random. And of course, there's bad luck too. There's people that do all the right things, opening up, a healing center or a restaurant, or, doing a lot of great, well planned out, great business plan, looks great on paper, gets the loan, whatever, and then it fails. It doesn't go anywhere. It ends up costing a ton of money, and maybe even bankruptcy is involved. That's bad luck, right? That happens too. Bad luck doesn't mean you missed something. It doesn't mean that you could have prevented it. Bad luck is just bad luck. It just happens. Somebody ran into one of our cars, the most expensive car we have, our Tesla X. Somebody backed into me at a Home Depot. It's just like, oh, fudge. Anyway, so that was bad luck, right? Luckily, they had insurance. Luckily, their insurance company is paying for everything, and they agreed that he was 100% at fault. But I helped with that. See, I helped because I responded to the situation. I got the witness statements. I had all my ducks in a row when I filed the claim with his insurance, and this is what happened. And then when they called me to sort of interview me, I was ready. I had all the facts there. I was timely in reaching out to them within a day of it happening. And it ended up going my way. So I do feel lucky, but I also feel like part of my good fortune in that regard of having everything taken care of, even though it's been a pain in the ass to go to the body shop and all these appointments, and I can't wash the car until the paint's cured, and then we do the clear coat. And it's been a total, not how I want to use my time, but it could have been a lot worse, right? So I feel lucky, even though initially it's like, I wish this weren't happening. There is no part of me as Jill, even as a spiritual teacher, messenger, interdimensional communicator, which some call channeling, but I'm not channeling something outside of myself. I'm connecting to a level of transcendent wisdom and advice and perspective that I didn't learn in textbooks, and no outside force is asking me to say it like they take me over. That's how most people, I think of channeling. This is me at another layer of me saying, hey, that's not how we see things. Maybe our way of seeing things will be helpful to you. because we love you, right? I love you. Life is hard. Earth is hard. I want to do what I can to make it as, as more real. And I value honesty. If I'm doing something like ridiculous, that's like does not make sense from the context of my infinite self, oh my God, I want to know about it. And I think it's really interesting and curious that some people seem to not want to be honest with themselves. It's like, no, don't bother me with the facts. I'm busy in this myth I'm creating with others, pretending this is true. Oh, okay. And I love that you have the free will to do that. And when somebody crosses my doorstep and books a session with me, when I see it differently, I tell you the truth. Yeah. And this is my podcast. So I get to say what I wish you knew. And that's how every podcast is. And that's the foundation of it, is what do we wish the world knew today? And this was it today. That there is luck, that there is good luck and there is bad luck. And it is a very strong factor in how one's day goes, how one's life goes. And I'm sorry if that's not what you wanted to hear, but it is what I think another layer of you actually will benefit from knowing. And you get to decide whether to ignore me or not, right? You get to decide whether you want to try this out. We sense that you will have much more success at being your you with this truth that there is also something called luck. Does that mean we can all be millionaires? No. Money doesn't work that way in this reality. It's tightly managed economy and abundance and money and monetary value and all those things are very, very tightly managed in this reality. I'm not saying I like it, but it is what it is. And I understand the system of it. One of my majors is in economics. One of my degrees, one of my business degrees, it was a major in economics. So I get it, and I believe it, and all the evidence proves that it's true, and that's how it works. And there's also luck. Okay. All right. So do I want you all of you that want to be millionaires, do I want you to be millionaires too? Yes, of course I'm cheering you on. And I think you should also have a backup plan. Okay. And I think maybe if I were you, I'd stop investing and acting as if investments in that dream are going to make it happen. No. Yeah. Our success on paper is probably really boring, right? It doesn't follow any of those abundance coaches and things like that. No, we never had an abundance coach, my husband or I. I'm not saying they never work. I'm just saying I wouldn't spend my money on it. How about that? Now, other ways to get insights and be a better person and like yourself more and feel more of value and of relevance in this reality, I think that's great. And coaches can help with that. Yeah, especially if they're honest enough with themselves to be honest enough with you. Okay. All right. I love you. I hope this was helpful. I know we've shared similar messages, but the concept of luck is possibly the new ingredient that we wanted to focus more on, in addition to possibly repeating some things for some of you. But some of you have never heard us before. So hello and welcome to you too. Okay, we've got hundreds of other messages and other for-pay resources if you want them. Yeah, I don't feel like you need them. We offer what we feel will support you in being an amazing version of yourself that may or may not yield outward success. Yeah, just cool. Okay. I love you guys. Bye-bye for now. Thank you for hanging out with me today. Bye-bye.